Good afternoon. Welcome to Disqualified Dads. My name is Farouk. First and foremost, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help support the channel, go into the PayPal link in the description, sponsor, donate, whatever you can, so we can keep the information coming out. But please subscribe. Now, I am at a hijama therapy clinic today with my friend Ramiz. You might recognize him from the Blackbeard podcast we shared. So I will say no more. I'll let Ramiz introduce himself. Ramiz, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I want to say my name is Ramiz Ibrahim. We're at my clinic here, therapy clinic in London in Ilford. As you said, we did the last podcast with the Blackbeard brothers in Slough.
That's where we met, yes.
That's where we met, yeah, inshallah. And then we've been talking ever since, and now we've come back to do another little at the clinic.
Okay, tell us a bit about your specialist field, as in the hijama stuff. Talk a bit about that, yeah, because obviously hijama is now only in the last few years it's really taken off.
Yeah, it has.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was unheard of, bro. It was private. I remember, right? Some guy was doing it privately, back of his house. Said, "Don't tell no one." It's very secretive. That's how it was. He went there.
Why secretive?
He put these horns on you. You know, like they
right,
the old school. They put the horns on you. Some weird. I don't know what's going on, bro.
The question I always get asked is, how long have you been doing it? How did you get into the field? And I said, well, I think it found me. So the very first time that I heard about hijama was 1999.
Okay.
I'd just come into Dean 2 years prior, 1997. We had a jama'ah, a group of brothers, and went around his house in Wembley, and he came to, look, I like to do hijama. I said, what's that? Cupping. I said, yeah, go on. And he's left me with 3 wolf scars at the back, by the way. He cut me really deep.
Oh, bloody hell.
But he cured my back pain anyway, alhamdulillah. And I didn't do anything. I had it done to me, but I knew nothing about it.
Uh-huh.
So 2003, I started getting into learning about counselling and being a psychotherapist.
Okay.
But I was still doing counselling, mentoring in the community, unofficially, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Sorry, could I just ask, what sort of counselling, mentoring do you do? Anything, like anything anyone's talk about,
I
anything
use
specific, or relationships, or what?
Yeah, I use relationship, depression, addictions. Mainly, I like to think of myself as an older brother pushing young men and brothers to have a strong resolve when it comes to difficulties in life. So that's a mentoring. So it's difficult. Counselling is more listening, referring back to what you're saying. Can you you may be saying something, but I'm hearing something else.
Right. Okay.
So I reflect that back to you and see how you process that.
I see. Okay.
The feelings around certain things,
Okay, I just thought about something. Yeah. So what you just said, yeah. So if I present information to you, you present that information back to me, so
how
I can see
it.
that.
So that is exactly how I'm hearing it.
Because you don't know how you.
I don't.
I can't. You can't always know how you come across to others. Do you see what I'm saying?
You could be sitting there talking about, like, for example, let's keep it real. I'll go back to the introduction in a minute, but it's not that important as what we're going to talk about today, which is the fathers not seeing their kids and things like that. Generally, it's off the cuff anyway.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I meet you for the first time,
right,
and I say, how you doing, brother? Alhamdulillah. So let's go for a meal. Let's go for a meal. And all you talk about is your children.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, you know what, bro? I think you're missing your kids, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Then you'll say, well, yeah, bro, this is my situation, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. If I didn't hear that, if I just let you speak, okay, that's good. Then I'll talk about my kids generally. But if I'm listening and yes, I'm saying, well, this brother's talking about his kids a bit too much, then normal, because we should go to the next subject by now.
It's on his head.
It's like listening to the unspoken word. What's happening here?
Yes.
Yeah. Rather than what you're saying here, rather than what you're saying here.
Yes, because what necessarily comes out is not what he's talking.
What you're feeling.
Yeah, it's not what he's feeling, or it's not. Yeah. So it's like a cry for help. Sometimes it's not a direct cry for help.
Direct for cry.
It's indirect
cry for help.
Self-harm, attention.
Yes, absolutely.
All of that, man.
Absolutely.
It's all dangerous stuff, man. Bloody hell.
I thought, I had a good example then. I forgot what situation it was. Last week, somebody said something, and they said something. I said, wow, you picked that up? I thought, it's great. It's about picking up little nuances.
Little things. See, I'll tell you something, right, yeah? Once I entered this whole situation, the trauma and separation with the kids, all of that, yeah, and when you walk around with trauma all the time, it's like I had a sixth sense. Since it happened, since this trauma, it's like I've got a sixth sense. When the guy's talking, or anyone, you can sort of cut through all the shit and go, boom. That's what you're trying to say.
You
Straight.
do-
I feel
but-
it.
but you
And now
do-
then
but
I
you-
pull them up straight
But
sometimes.
do you know it's your intuition because you've got ADHD?
With me?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
I know you've got ADHD.
Okay, go on.
I
How did you?
can
Okay,
tell.
how did you come to that? Come on, I want to hear this. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, we've jumped.
No, this is good.
but
This is good.
it's
Go on, tell me this. Because people
So
told me I've got
a frog in the
OCD.
throat.
Yes, right. I have a.
I was dreaming about frogs last night, by the way. I don't know why.
You what? Say
I said I've got a frog in the throat.
yeah.
And I dreamed about frogs last night. I don't know why.
You talking
I
about
know
missing
why.
kids? You talking about
Because
missing
every time I
kids?
go fishing, I keep saying, how come I can't see no frogs? When I was younger,
Mm.
go to Wanstead Flats and Wanstead Park,
Yeah,
fishing,
yeah.
and I see frog spawn. No, you can't see
Yeah,
any. And the
yeah,
sparrows.
yeah.
Very few
Ponds.
sparrows. So anyway, ADHD, attention deficit disorder, it's not about you can't concentrate.
Uh-huh.
You can concentrate, but it's finding what to concentrate with all the million things going on in your head.
I think you can maybe concentrate a bit too much sometimes. That's the problem.
That's called hyperfocusing. That's part of ADHD.
right. Okay.
On something that you like doing.
Yes.
If you like an ADHD person, I'm not going to say sufferer, an ADHD person.
It's a good skill to have, I think.
That's
ADHD.
exactly
People
why.
don't realise
That's exactly
that.
why I don't say sufferer, because it's a it's a skill to have. If you can use it
100%.
to your advantage, just like OCD.
Yeah, but perfectionists, I've got OCD. That's what they call it, OCD. But
Right. It's not that when you do something you're trying to make it perfect. It's you prevent yourself from attempting a certain task because of perfectionism.
Oh, I know that feeling. Yes.
Self-sabotage.
You'd rather not try it because you know you can't get it perfect.
Self-sabotage, what do you call it? Restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, I felt that, man. I feel that definitely.
Finish off somebody else's sentences.
Bloody
not
hell,
because
man.
you're rude.
This is a therapist, bro. You're right, man. I need help.
It's
Definitely.
not,
I've done that.
got it. I've
See,
got it.
That's what I say to people. But I actively, so when I'm on these podcasts now, or if I'm sitting with someone where I'm learning, or someone's talking, I actively say to myself, "Shut up, listen." Do you see what I'm saying? And I stop.
You can't shut up,
I
though.
give the guy enough space to talk and try and listen. I actively try and follow that
have to,
now.
yeah.
That's what I do.
I mean, I've always had ADHD. 1995, I went to America and worked with kids with ADHD. They were full of Ritalin and lithium and drugs and things like this. Battery liquid, based lithium, poison. But it mongs them out.
Yeah.
And I never knew I had it until maybe 15 years ago. I thought to myself, maybe I have ADHD. I look it up things, I do the tests. And I did a test again some time back and it says seek help.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay.
But because of my age and my experience in life and my beast is away, and also we have what we call emotional dysregulation. So you put too much emotion and emphasis on, you might drop it off and you think, oh, look what happened, man.
Okay.
Oh, is it? It's just a drop coffee.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's part of ADHD. And also anger.
Okay, so how did you diagnose now that
'Cause
you think I've got it? How did you clock that?
I just had restless leg syndrome. You finish off my sentences. You've
Ah.
jumped from, let me introduce myself to,
Yeah.
before I finish, you
Yeah, because
say this. And if, oh, let's do this now.
that. No, I do that on the podcast because if I
But it's
don't,
fine.
if I don't
It's fine.
jump in and ask it, then I'll forget, and that's what I do.
That's part of it
Yeah.
as well. Forgetfulness is part of
Yeah.
ADHD.
That's why I got my notebook.
Knocking your knees.
Okay, well I got a notebook
forgetting
now.
your keys here.
So I'm not going to do that now.
I've got a whole list of things.
Well, if I've got a question
I'll
now,
send you-
I'm just going to write it
I'll
and write it
send
down.
you-
I'm going to ask you later.
Go online and do an ADHD test.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 2-year waiting list to get it officially done.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a long waiting list. Unless you do it paid privately. Sure.
All right. Well, guess what? I can beat it. I'm not going to intro. If I've got a question, I'm going to note it, and I can show you. I got control.
Well,
of all of
let's
this.
go back to the beginning, all right?
So let's go back. Go on.
So 1999, 2003 came. Started doing my level 2, continuing my journey into counselling, psychotherapy, what it was, and then the first ever Muslim Islamic gym opened up, Al Badr, Leabridge Road. You know it,
that. Yeah.
behind the Bellevue Masjid down on
They had
Leabridge Road.
women's classes there as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I used to live in Harrow at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you come all the way from Harrow down here. I used to come 4 or 5 times a week.
That's commitment, bro.
Yeah, I used to come 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And I saw a little room in there, about a quarter of the size of this. I said, brother, hire this room for me. £7 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I started £25 an hour to give brothers 5 cups of hijama. And the way I started those days was I've got a video on that. It's basically, baby fruit jars,
Yeah.
Heinz, whatever they
Yeah,
are, Colgate,
yeah.
Cowangate. I'd used to eat the fruit inside, apple and pear, lovely, warm or cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd boil the jars, clean them, boil them again in the tablet, a Milton tablet, where they boiled baby bottles.
Yeah, Milton. Yeah.
6 jars, a blade, gloves, some tissues in a bag per client.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went on to there, and then that led me on to more holistic type of getting into massage and self-development and more holistic type of living sort of thing.
Okay.
So I studied about the water supply, and aluminium, all sorts of things.
Do
Yeah,
you know anything about mercury by any chance?
yeah, same. It's in the water supply as well.
Yeah, I've had mercury poisoning, like full on.
Have you?
Yeah, I've done a mercury cleanup once, and my
Have you
levels.
got fillings?
No, I don't have fillings. There was a mercury spill, right, massive amount.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, literally. Yeah,
So, and every time you phone the specialist up to try and clean it, bro, I've
They don't
done
wanna do it.
thousands. No one wants to know. There's no advice. So again, you got to soldier through it. When you get adversity, you got to soldier through. So I found a few methods, made a few phone calls, and I've done a cleanup myself. But then weeks on, went to the doctor because there was no one, brother. I've called Public Health England, council, went back and forth. No one's got a clue, bro. So I had to deal with it myself. So anyway, done the cleanup. You have to get magnesium powder and this powder and all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah,
other counteracting chemicals.
Oh, it's well messed up, right? So then when they done my test, I went to the doctor weeks later. Said, "Listen, I've been sort of left hanging. No one can give me an answer. Like, what do you do?" She goes, "Look, let's just do a blood test." So she sent off for the blood test. Yeah.
Is that because of your job?
No, because I went there because I said, "Look, I've done a mercury cleanup." So she goes, "Let's see your blood levels in it." No, I was in my house.
Oh, okay.
It was in my house. I'd lifted up the flooring to change the flooring. I saw all the mercury on the floor, like big splashes. Bro, who knows, bro? It was like a
it was there.
It was there from years.
Under the carpet for years.
There was parquet flooring.
Right. He wasn't working with it.
It was a concrete floor. It was a concrete floor with parquet flooring on it. So they used to paint it with the bitumen and then stick the parquet flooring on back then. So when I took the parquet flooring off, bro, there's just splashes of silver, right? Bro, and when I say the amount I collected was like a Lucozade bottle full, yeah? One Lucozade bottle was like 10 kilos. You know the 500 ml bottle?
Yeah, it's heavy.
I managed to collect it, get it in there.
Yeah, it's dense.
But the bits that got broken away, bro, you can't control it, man. It's very heavy. You can't.
Runs,
yeah, exactly. You know how it is, yeah?
Yeah, it runs.
With great difficulty, very stressful time, I dealt with it, yeah? One way or the other, right? And, we've done the test after. You get the sniffer after. Done the test and everything was clear, yeah? But when they done the blood test, results came in.
It affected you?
No, but doctor phones me up, right, 3 weeks later, said, "Listen, the blood tests have come through. First thing we're going to ask you is, are you feeling okay? Did you manage to get out of bed and go work?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. It's as fit as a fiddle. The strongest I've ever felt." I said, "Yeah."
Because you're thinking of mercury poisoning.
Then she goes, "Okay, are you having any violent thoughts or visions or something? You're thinking crazy?" I was like, "No more than usual." And then what happens is she goes, "Well, let's put it this way. If the normal human body should have, say, like 5%, yeah, yours is like 1,500. I was like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, exactly." She goes, "Look, come back in." And then went back in for another test. But over time, it just cleared away because of less exposure. But it was just the initial cleanup and the exposure, bro. If you get mercury, trust me, it's very difficult to deal with. It is a specialist job. But if you need any information on it, drop me an email. I'll tell you what I did. But carry on, Ramiz. Sorry, I thought I'd get a story in there.
No, that's fine. So, there was like holistic living, that sort of thing. So over the years, I learned what I can about cupping myself. Then I worked for a clinic down in Whitechapel for, I can't remember, 6-7 years. I can't remember now. And then from there, I did my own clinic, my home mobile. I learned a bit more, etc., etc. So when I first started, you didn't have these. Like you have these pumps and the cups.
Oh,
that you have now.
The little,
you have the fire cupping. As you have fire cupping now. So
that's the one where they put the cup on and they press the button and suction.
Disposable cups, one use. And that's it. So I carried on with that. And there was a time where I was counselling 2 days a week, doing hijama 2 days a week, and selling fresh fish 2 days a week.
A bit of a contrast,
a bit of eclectic kind of work. Fast forward now, over the years, I'm one of the older boys that are doing it now, more experienced. You got Sheikh Mohammed Wali, who's in.
It's quite a few doing it.
Who's in Balam? Sheikh Waleed. Yeah, there's loads of people. But you said it's years ago. It was, but even now, even though a lot of people are doing it, and most of them probably my students that I used to work with an organisation called the Souk. Allah bless them, make them blessed and successful. And so most of the younger boys and sisters that you see now open up clinics are probably from our work.
Your lineage. They're from your lineage, yeah?
Yeah.
Your teaching.
Some students, though, well, the funny thing about some students, I catch them online. I think, oh, this so-and-so. And the thing is, they act like they've had the 20-year experience. And I've got to text them and say, listen, don't say this, that, and that, because you're not a doctor, you're not a medical. You've got no disclaimer here.
Okay,
All you can do is stick to your what you know, and that's it. Don't try and diagnose. Don't try and make it look like bigger than it is, etc. You know.
So, okay, so just a point of advice, just to help the viewers now, because like I said, there's clinics everywhere. I am very particular. I've only had it done twice until I find someone that I know and I can trust, which I'll come to you now. Yeah. So for those watching who are thinking of doing it, the non-Muslims that don't know much about it, is out in the wider community. What advice would you give them?
Come to me.
So what would you advise them to look for? So if someone out there who's never had it and thinking of having it done, they go online. What should they look for in a clinician?
Right.
To make sure that the guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, bismillah. So basically, just like looking for a barber. Once you find the barber, you say, "I'm going to my barber." Why don't you go so and so? No, I like to stick to my barber.
But how do you find that barber?
Right. It's a risk, isn't it?
It is a risk, yeah.
Right. So my philosophy is Therapy Clinic London, clinical and caring. That's my slogan, if you like. Clinical meaning that even though the cups are wrapped up individually with plastic, cellophane, whatever it may be, and if it drops on the floor, I chuck it away. That's a bit OCD-ish.
Yes.
Especially how much they cost.
Yes.
But if it falls on the floor, even though it's covered, I still chuck it away. That's how I work.
Yeah, no risk.
If I drop a glove and it lands on my knee, doesn't fall like the nitrile gloves, or falls on the floor or on my toe or my shoe, you think, well, it hasn't touched the floor. And even though maybe the floor is more clean than my shoe, it gets chucked away.
Right.
Now, when it comes to, and I'm not going to mention no names, when it comes to like, there are people that use the horns, for example.
Yeah.
Although they sanitize the horns, those same horns are used on someone else.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not sanitized. I don't know how they work. Hopefully they do a fantastic job, and I'm sure they do. I can't call that clinical.
I agree, yeah.
So the question you should ask, how long you've been doing it for? Have you had any issues from another therapist before? Like I may get a client that comes and says to me, "Oh yeah, I heard a lot about you. I've got a big name in this game, alhamdulillah. So a good reputation in that sense."
Right.
So when people come to me and say, "I went to my last therapist," I said, "Don't tell me who it is." But it wasn't a very good session. I said, "What dictates a good session?" He goes, "Well, not much blood come out." I said, "I have to stop you there. I've got to give credit to the therapist because it's not about taking the blood out per se. Well, that's what it is, but because the healing is, according to the Prophet ﷺ, he said healing is in three things: a drink of honey, the incision of the blade or the cuppa, and cauterizing, okay. Right. But he's prohibited cauterizing or branding. In the old days, you've got backache, they'll get the iron, for example, and they'll get the iron and they'll go onto the area that's painful. Right. Or they get an iron rod with fire. And
and like stingy.
Yeah. That's to remove the pain. That's branding. The Prophet ﷺ has prohibited that. Right. Let's come back to the main point, which is the healing is an incision of the blade. So if a lot of blood does come out, for example, then you can say there's a lot of toxins there because you're not touching fresh blood. You're not touching 5.5 liters.
No.
This is excess blood. So according to Dr. David Parker,
the waste blood,
a doctor of naturopathy, he done a research and he said hijama blood is darker, thicker, and has a different smell. Not offensive smell. It's more like musty, as opposed to the metallic iron smell of fresh blood. Yes. It's full of heavy metals, cadmium, aluminium, whatever it may be.
Right, magnesium.
Also, excess unused proteins, calcium, residual used pharmaceutical drugs, etc. So all you're doing is you're removing this blockage and toxins to allow the fresh blood, with the idea of hyperemia, which is the increase in blood flow, to take fresh nutrients to wherever the body needs it. So you have to have a good lifestyle as well for the body to use the nutrients. So
it's clever stuff.
So if you're looking, you should ask questions. So look, this is a lot of information to give to a person over the phone, but I do. And that's how they know I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, no, definitely. Yeah.
That's why some clients, they say, even students now call me and say, "Can I do hijama for this, hijama for that?" I said, "Well, didn't you make no notes when you was in my class?" Because it's not. So this is why, and all you guys out there, I'm going to make a app now to do for the clinic, inshallah, and you have to subscribe for it because it's just too much for me all day long. So many calls, alhamdulillah. So apart from that,
that's good stuff, Tariq. Okay.
I still do counselling online or sometimes face to face if I have to face to face. I try to avoid that, more like online.
Could you just touch on before we move on, like for our Muslim viewers and for those who are interested in Islam, why it's sunnah
Try and say
to do.
Muslim.
Say again, Muslim.
Muslim.
I know it's
Don't say
Muslim. Muslim, bro. I like the
Reason
American way.
being
Muslims.
Muslim with the sin, you say is a person whose submission has been put on him, who's submitted, and a Muslim is like an oppressed person.
Okay.
Which probably we are.
Can we just call them mozzies? Should we just call them mozzies, right? My English friend used to call them mozzies.
The Muslimics.
The mozzies,
The Muslimics.
Yeah. So just from an Islamic angle, right, can you just explain like why it's sunnah? Obviously, I knew you sort of
right.
put the Islamic angle to this just while we're on the subject.
There are very few sort of knowledgeable people out there to say that hijama is not sunnah per se.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at so many hadith that is out there regarding the advocacy of hijama, very difficult to say that it's not sunnah. I don't know what they mean by it's not sunnah. So the Prophet ﷺ had it done because he had magic done on him. He had poison. He hurt his hip or his ankle. I can't remember now. But he advocated for headaches and things like that. So it is a sunnah in medicine. We do have tib nabawi, which is prophetic medicine.
Right.
So you have like prophetic medicines like Kustul Hind or Kustul Bahri, which is basically Indian ginseng, if you like, which is good for, as the hadith mentions, for children's tonsillitis. So the Prophet said, why are you hurting your children by pressing on their tonsils? As we do in the West, you push it and get these calcifications out, the white bits of the tonsils.
Right, yeah.
But so don't use that. Use Kustul Hind, the powder.
Okay.
We have Talbina, which is basically barley flour. If you use ordinary flour, wheat flour, and you put water in it, becomes like a dough mush. You can't really eat that. But barley flour is more like porridge or like millet. And the Aisha, radiallahu anha, our mother Aisha, she recommended it because it eases the heart and sorrow and grief.
Right, okay.
And if you research it, it's full of B vitamins.
Oh.
And so I read an article once of a lady, she had manic depression, and she cured it, if you like, by drinking licorice root juice, which is full of B vitamins. So it's important to have a lot of B complex vitamins in your body, as well as magnesium. We'll come on to that later on as well. So there's hadith. There are hadith that are sahih hadith, which are basically authentic.
Authentic hadith.
There is also unauthentic hadith regarding hijama, as with other subjects in the deen. And most vital one also is the words, I want it on the sunnah day.
Right.
So they say 17th, 19th, and the 21st of the Islamic calendar, the lunar calendar. So 17th, 19th of the lunar calendar, with Al-Qura calendar in East, if you like, Saudi. Then you have the North African calendar. There was a one-day discrepancy sometimes.
Okay.
So when people call me and say, I want the Sunnah days, I said, to be honest with you, if tomorrow's the 17th, for example, of a certain calendar month, then I would start today's the 17th and yesterday after month, because there's always one-day discrepancy. So I'll do the next 7 days. Whoever has it done those days will catch it.
Right,
yeah,
gotcha.
So all this information that I provide every time the person calls me. So it's not just about come to me, get hijama, pay me, you go. I have to educate people.
Yeah, you got the whole backdrop.
Yeah, just like I educate people on their salah, on the fasting and dini matters.
Yes.
This is a dini matter too. Definitely. Because just like we have the Chinese TCM, traditional Chinese medicine.
Yes. And
then we have the Ayurvedic medicine, Indian medicine. We have Tibba Nabawi, prophetic medicine as well.
Right, okay.
But we just don't propagate it. Because you may think that we follow the sunnah when it comes to medicine, but you'd be surprised how many people will follow a doctor than they would do, I'm just taking the prophetic medicine, or I'm just going all holistic and naturopathy, I'm going natural. Because we are so poisoned growing up that the natural products take a lot of time to affect us in a positive way.
Right.
So those of you
because your body's made up
it's made up of toxins and all that. So the only thing that will work really quickly are the pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
So what you should do is take the pharmaceutical, like for example, Ramapil, which is for blood pressure.
Right.
Okay, it works. It's not there's not much really side effects with that. It does work. Yeah, it's good for blood pressure. But so is magnesium. So is Tonkat Ali. Tonkat Ali is a herb as a root from Indonesia. It's a root. It's called Tonkat Ali, translated from Indonesian. I don't speak Indonesian. I just know the translation of just that, basically. I'm going to sit. I know the other brother knows Indonesian.
Yeah.
So it's basically the walking stick of Ali.
Right.
And how they found out about this is one village was prolific in producing a lot of children, and the women were very happy.
Right. Okay. We need some of
Well,
this.
yeah, you're
Right.
smiling.
Let me.
So
My ears just like.
so the women were speaking to the other women, say, "How come?" He goes, "Well, we put the Tonkat Ali root powder in our husband's foods and drink,
Right.
and it gives them a good walking stick."
Ladies, did you hear that?
No.
Sisters, did you hear that?
Stop it! Stop it!
Okay, brothers, did you hear that?
Stop it! This is serious. This is medicinal. Don't get.
No, I bought it. Go.
So yeah. So how it works, just like other natural vasodilators. Vaso meaning from your vascular system, your blood supply, veins, arteries, and they dilate it.
Yes.
So that means it dilates it, more blood goes to
More
certain
blood flows
areas.
through, yes, gotcha.
But even if you don't have a problem like erectile dysfunction or as such, you should still be taking it as a health. And a good consequence of that is that you get a good walking stick, and we'll leave it at that. Other.
It's not that type of show.
No, other natural. Well, to be surprised how many brothers are.
No, it's good to know, bro. It's good to know all this stuff.
So, so you've got maca powder, the black one.
I've heard of that.
Maca powder.
I've heard of that one.
Kustul Hind does the same thing. Open the blood vessels. L-citrulline, larginine. These are amino acids that are they get changed into nitric oxide, which is what runs in the blood that opens up the blood vessels. The same nitric oxide was put in the 80s in their cars to make them go faster. Right. Even now.
Oh, nitrous, like
nitrous, yeah.
Fast and Furious, nitrous. Yeah.
And this is the same stuff that these kids are killing
the balloon,
themselves.
with the balloon.
Balloon, it's nitric oxide.
Right, yeah. Kids keep off of that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Honestly, I mean, you know, mothers and fathers, you know, I know that, you know, that's not a subject, but the accident happened the other day in Beckton. You heard about it?
No.
The Urus, the Lamborghini Urus, the blue one, was behind us. I don't know, because the video shows them being chased, and then he came this way onto the other side and hit head on.
Bloody hell.
Head on onto a Royal Mail truck.
Death.
Anyway, so this is another subject we can talk about actually.
Okay.
Developing our kids.
Okay, Ramiz.
Because my mind's going.
No, you're fired up, right? I can see you fired up. Right. We're just going to go to a quick break, and then we'll just pick up where we left off. Let's just have a little breather, yeah?
No problem, Sean. That's fine.
Right, we are back. That was a good opening sort of introduction. So Ramiz, carry on about.
Said, really.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is, I think we need like a 5-hour podcast, but we'll have to
probably
pick.
Do, yeah.
Well, if today's not enough, we will definitely come back for more. Yeah,
absolutely.
So now let's go back to what you're saying about the kids and stuff, like raising children.
It's a touchy subject for me because it's like, for example, we're good fathers but lousy husbands, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
It's like we haven't got the balance to actually give the same kind of mentoring, nurturing to our wives as we
do our kids.
And it's a shame because the energy is because it's when we've been brought up, we haven't had the nurturing ourselves. We can't give the love to our spouse that we give it to the children because we never got it.
Second generational
trauma. Yeah,
I always talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and third generation.
So that's third generation. That type of trauma plays out more in men because that's more the sort of trauma that will play out amongst men.
Because we don't talk about it. Who wants to listen? Why should we? I'm too busy working. I'm too busy bringing up kids. I'm too busy ploughing the field. I'm too busy trying to get the car MOT. I'm busy doing my clinic. I'm too busy, you're electrician doing you're too busy. And I said, how are you? I'm all right, bro. No.
How are you really? Yeah.
When I go to Tesco's sometimes, well, I say Tesco, I hardly go to Tesco's now. It's Lidl and Asda and all that. I go all three of them. I do a lot of budgeting. I know every aisle.
Yeah. Fathers have to budget. Mate.
Yeah, I know how
fathers
to.
Got no money. Yeah.
So basically, I'm at the till. And he goes, how are you? You know what I say? I said, are you asking rhetorically? Or are you asking me how?
Formality.
Because you don't know me.
Are you asking that formality?
Yeah,
or polite, or you genuinely care?
Yeah.
That's.
She goes, I never thought of that. I know because we're too. How are you? I'm okay. Yeah. Bing, bing, bing. See you later.
It's formality. They don't really ask.
I'm not going to sit and tell you how I am.
Really, you're not.
But I'm okay.
Yeah.
Meaning, I'm handling whatever happening to me. I'm handling it. That's basically it. So bringing children up with the nurturing, the love and the care they need and showing them an avenue to express their anger healthily, express their pain healthily is very important to understand about emotional intelligence, how they can utilize that as they get older. Now, bringing up children isn't about buying them stuff. They don't care about stuff.
Can I just cut in there for 1 second, Ramiz, right, before we go any further then? Okay. You're talking about bringing up children. Go back to the lousy husband bit. Good father, lousy husband. Let's go back. That's some more sort of juicy topic.
I don't agree with it.
No, but let's
I'm
talk
just
about
saying
that. So
it's always said.
Okay, but the thing is this.
And the only reason I said it,
go on.
because children get more of the intention than you do.
No, but
than the wife does. But when the children are newly born, the first few years before you actually advocate to them the information of nurturing and bringing them up, they get more attention than you do from the wife.
Right. Yes.
So psychologically, you may have some resentment. I've done no research on it, but you may have some resentment. So when it comes to the children now, to an age that they're 3, 4, 5 plus,
they're more independent.
They're more independent of it. Then you start giving attention to them, and the wife gets lacking of your time. So it's just, I don't know what it is.
It's the family dynamics, right?
Okay. So I always say, young people call me in their 20s. They just got married. They say, "But give us some advice." I say, "You ready to hear it?"
Okay.
They say, "Yeah."
Good point. Yeah.
I say, "Okay. How old are you?" 26. How old are you, sister? 22. Oh, Allah bless your marriage. Have a long one. 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, you get married, have children, get with the program.
Yes, that's right. That's how
Wives at the home.
Okay, that's how it was.
They could kill each other.
It was a different time.
But they stick together.
It was a different time. Yeah,
they stick together. I've seen mum and dad.
Yeah, 100%. Asian community.
But they still used to hate each other. I can see it. But now they've got older, and
that's
they're
how Asian
now.
community. Yeah.
But for you two, I say, for youngsters these days as well, is 2 years you have no children. You enjoy each other's company.
Get to know each other.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Build a foundation, a good grounding.
Okay, hold on, Ramiz, because we could let's dissect it as we're going along now, yeah? Because these are some of my favourite subjects that we've spoken about in many podcasts. We need to dissect it, right? Yeah. But this is what I say: you have to have, when we take everything aside from the marriage element, you're together. So you got 2 years, get to know each other, yeah. But the thing is, make sure before you get to that stage, you have some chemistry. Because none of these
go back now. Okay.
No, because that's what I'm saying to you. Look, none of these other things. Look, if someone comes to you and says, 26, I got married, brother Ramiz, give me some advice. We've got nothing to talk about.
Well, now you're married, so I'll give you the advice of that. I can't tell you
I agree.
what kind of partner you got.
No,
I'm going to go from the
I get that.
point of action.
I get that. But the people watching now, that's what I'm saying. Before you even get to these stages, ensure that you have some mental compatibility and you have some chemistry to bounce off each other. Without that, no, but that's what I'm saying. Without that, doesn't matter how many bandages you put around it.
No one's going to tell me now.
Nothing can fix that.
No one's going to tell me now that physical attraction isn't important. I reckon it's 99%.
For a bad, yeah, definitely.
Well, no.
Women have attraction.
For women as well, but they don't really...
That's not the most important thing.
It's not coming out in the foreground, but it is. I'll tell you why. Now, 25 years ago, when I came to the Deen,
right,
you could probably still get married for the sake of Deen.
Yes.
And do that program, get married, have kids, and get on with it.
Get with the program. Yeah.
Now, you can't really do that.
No.
So when you're looking for a spouse, what I say now to the brother is ask one question and watch something else. What you got to watch your, inshallah, future mother-in-law, how she treats your future father-in-law. Yes. That's how, Allahu Alam, your future wife's going to treat you.
You heard that. Right here.
Secondly, the same. Watch how your future father-in-law treats your future mother-in-law.
So
because that's how your future husband may or may not treat you. Allahu Alam.
So check the dynamics of the household.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't be in a hurry. I'll come to that. Secondly, are you praying? Are you this? Let's get the Islamic cliche out of the way.
Yes,
I know it is what it is. Because
it's a cliche.
What are you looking for in a husband? You should have a beard, pray 5 times a day, study the Deen. Okay, we know all that.
6-figure
salary.
So
I say to the brother, ask this question to the future wife. After you've done everything else, the first 10 minutes you eye each other out. Yeah, she's attractive. I like her. You know, my heart's going a little bit fluttering. Yes, she's the one physically.
Yeah, butterflies.
Let's find
bit of chemistry.
Let's find her Deen, find the dynamic. After all of that, the final question is, if I shave my beard off, would you still marry me? Yes. Walk away.
Okay.
Because she has to have the strength of the aqeedah, of the Deen and the Tawheed and the understanding of love of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to not just... I don't care if you shave the beard off. I just want you because you're gorgeous.
No, but that shows something else as well, though. That shows the strength of someone's character.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the Deen, but but you can have your character. You might inside you might
but
think
it's Deen character.
But if you got I get it. But my point is the ability to stand by it. Look, we can have Deen, we can have beliefs, but not everyone has the strength to stand by it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if someone does that, that's even more attractive because she's shown certain characters where she'll stand by her belief. That's deep, man.
Yeah. And the same with the sister. You ask the brother, after everything's been checked out on all the tick boxes, if I took my hijab off one day, would you still marry me? If he says yes, walk away.
Okay, yeah, shows what he's about.
Yeah.
All right, well,
So
shows not as a
right,
bad
so
thing,
you've
but
done all
shows his
that, you've
personality.
got married.
But chemistry,
I
I just got to keep saying chemistry, guys. Got to have
chemistry is very
chemistry.
important. The first 10
Most
minutes,
important
the
thing.
first 10 minutes is the
Feel the
attractive
chemistry,
side. Once that's
butterflies,
done,
bit of
then
compatibility.
check with the dean, check with etc. etc. Now, these days it's like it's not the girl that's actually asking the questions; it's the father. And true, say because the waliship, isn't it?
Okay.
Right. Do you work? No. Sorry. If somebody came to ask for my daughter in marriage and he wasn't working, I'm not going to say no. Especially if his deen is strong, etc. That's more important to me.
Okay.
And then if he's as long as he's not a bum, he's looking for work and he can help. I can help him look for work. I can teach him. He can do something else. He's looking for work. He's
he
active.
has to. But he's got to show that he's
active.
He's not just sitting around not looking.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's got to show he's got a bit of get up and go about him. Yeah?
Exactly.
So okay,
no problem.
Okay, so the biggest issue in the Asian community now is we'll touch all these subjects as you talk. I'll touch on the subjects, because like, as you know the community very well, yeah. Even when I was getting married back in the day, yeah, when I was looking, yeah, there's from the Asian community now. There's this element of forget the guy's work. He's working. But how much does he earn? Does he have a house in the Gujarati community? Up north now, they're demanding him. Up north, they're demanding houses, cars, salaries up front. Does he have a degree? Bro, the guy's a grafter.
£10,000.
The guy's a builder. He's earning like so much. What's the big deal? Like he's a good guy and he's working. And I mean, he's not a millionaire, but listen, it can make a life together. People don't care. The Asian community is very shallow. I have to be honest.
I can live in a room with floorboards and a little carpet where they're lovely.
I live in a van, bro. It's all good.
It's lovely.
Hey, sisters, want to join me? It's a mobile life. But all right,
good, inshallah.
Ramiz, let's move on a little bit. Yeah, I just want to go back to this whole. It's part. Still on the same subject. The lousy husband. There's something you said specifically. Yeah, you said so. A father, he's nurturing.
Let's not keep on that though.
No, we're not going to keep on it. It's very important.
You get lousy wives as well.
No, I get it. But look, let's go. When I say lousy husband, yeah, this is what I'm saying. So it's the perception of the lousy husband. But when you said he's not nurturing her or giving her attention. Now, let's go back to the fact that should a husband have to nurture his wife? Yeah, give her attention and time, but is it his job to nurture her and raise her? She's not a kid.
No, we're not talking about raising. We're talking about giving
attention,
mental, physical, emotional, and
okay, you're talking about attention.
Time,
yeah, you don't mean nurturing as such.
Well, this is why it's important to. A man's already busy.
Yes, agreed.
Mentally, physically, he's busy. Yeah, to allow to actually have children right now. And then that's more of a barrier, with all due respect. That's why I say to young, get married, 2 years, no children, travel the world, enjoy each other, and you have plenty of the physical. Very, very important.
Good idea.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Emotional as well. Emotional and physical intimacy is very, very important.
Build that bond.
Yeah, build that bond up. I say this, but I feel hypocrisy when I say it. Okay, it's very important because this is what I've learned. There's things that I've learned that I can put out there. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not. I don't want to be. There's no such thing as perfect, and I don't want to be perfect. I want to be a broken pot that can hold a bit of water, but a bit of dribble out, and that's for the other person to patch up.
Yes,
we help each other patch each other cracks up.
You cover each other. What's that saying? The hadith? You cover your clothing for each other. Yes, that's it. Your spouse.
I'm a clothing. I'm a cover for you. And a cover for
yes, you. Deep. Okay, so carry on from that and go back to the. Yeah, carry on from there.
Yeah. So so we've got that. I think 2 years traveling, learning the deen together. Then we go to Egypt, Arabic together, wherever you want to go. Travel the world a little bit, do business together. Pray together, stay together, as they say. And then start planning.
It sounds nice. It sounds really warm and
the
romantic.
Ideal, yeah. When the child does come, when the husband walks into the room, or the wife walks in, and they look at each other. There's still that feeling because you're going to remember the 2 years that you had together.
Chemistry, you built that.
And the thing is, don't let the child prevent those 2 years from stopping.
So this is what I say.
Don't let work prevent the 2 years.
Still
from
make
stopping.
time for each other. Because I know couples, right? Look, I've you study couples sometimes. You see people, right? Even after like 20 years, they still got their little jokes. They have their banter. They still have the back and forth, and you can see they're still like friends. And they make time though. They make sure they have a date night. For example, they go out one night a week, spend time alone together. You've got still make an effort.
I talk about the ideal, I talk about the ideal. I don't mind talking about myself and and this is another ADHD trait that we overshare sometimes.
Okay.
I'm not going to share too much. The thing is with ADHD people is the fact that we can't do too much chit chat. We lose concentration. I mean, you have a conversation for an hour, and all of a sudden you see me zone off. You may think I'm not listening, being rude, but I'm not. For me to listen to you now, if I'm after the initial concentration span has gone,
right?
If I'm on my phone scrolling, I can listen more.
Okay.
If I'm concentrating on something,
right?
But if I'm reading a book,
you can.
I say, brother, I've zoned out. Let me grab a book. Let me grab my phone. I can listen to you. That's the way I work.
Right. Okay.
And the reason I mentioned that with ADHD is sometimes it's very difficult to keep relationships.
Right. Okay. Go on.
It's hard. Self-sabotaging, coupled with the second generation, third generation trauma, is not being able to, you're self-sabotaging because you believe you don't deserve to be loved.
Okay.
Or to be cared for.
Can I
or
add
to
another
be,
dynamic
to receive
to
it.
that? So amongst all of those things, let's say your partner is combative as well, right? Always challenging everything. Would that be
cantankerous? You mean argumentative all the time?
Yeah, always challenging you, or instead of just discussing like very, when someone's asking you, talking to you, as a man when someone's challenging you, yeah. And I find women these days, unfortunately, a lot of sisters and a lot of brothers we speak to, there seems to be this combative energy where man is being challenged.
Manly energy.
Yeah, being challenged
around
at
the
home.
woman, you mean?
Yeah, she's challenging you though in your decisions, or instead of you just want to talk about it, she's challenging you and trying to drive her position rather than discussing it. If you add that to the mix as well, what happens with ADHD, the second, third generational trauma, self-sabotage, and that sort of energy? How would that play out?
Yeah. It's hard enough growing up with good mentoring and nurturing and having ADHD than having ADHD and not having the initial ingredients for a happy childhood mentally and emotionally with good emotional intelligence to deal with your own emotions.
Right.
So, for example, you mentioned the fact that she's combative, she's cantankerous and argumentative and trying to push her view in. Allah says in the Quran to have mutual consultation with each other.
Yes.
But the final decision rests on the man.
Right.
So if women knew how happy they would be to leave the man to be the man and you be the woman,
he'd give her everything.
He'd give everything.
He'd give her everything straight.
Yeah.
He doesn't really.
It's very simple. Yeah. Men are very basic needs fulfilling type of creatures. Respect, food, and a lot of the physical.
Yes.
Yeah. But women say, but I want my husband to be more emotional and tell me how to express himself. Fine. Give him that environment to do that.
Yes.
If initially it's hard enough for him to be able to express himself, and you come across as combative, he's going to just switch off, like exponentially go somewhere else.
Yes.
And in your head, you think, and I was about to express myself, and no way, I'm not doing that now.
Yeah.
Then what happens though, reflects back on her, reflects back on you, and a distance occurs.
The wedge.
Yeah. So it's important you start as you mean to go on in the initial verbal contracted as you're talking. So you say, look, after, do you want to stay in this country or not? Blah, blah. I want a kind of marriage that basically, again, I'm going to give the ideal. You feel hypocrisy because that's what you didn't give and you want to give, and I wrote down something the other day. It was very profound. I said, torture is knowing that you need that nurturing yourself, that loving, and that wife can give it to you. You don't allow yourself to receive it.
Yes, that's deep.
Because of the fear that you have of self-sabotaging, that it's not going to last. So you'd rather sabotage it and say, no, I knew it was right.
But do you also feel that maybe because you don't deserve that love?
That's what I'm saying. Because you were brought up in the first generation family.
Lack of emotional.
But look, my mum and dad's first generation, they worked their butt off to bring 5 of us in the 70s,
but like
80s,
you said,
and all that. And now I'm thinking I'm going to blame them, which I did for a while.
No, but what you're saying is that generation generally was a lack, and there still is in that generation.
Because all they're thinking about is money, working, got 5 kids, food, clothing. I used to go to school with sandals and white socks in the snow.
No, but okay.
I'm not saying that for sympathy. I'm just saying it was just like, you got socks on, you got something to wear, go.
It was a different time, right?
It was a different
time.
I get
it, yeah. But my point is there was a lack of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And there still is. For example, if I love my mum and dad, but there's only so many conversations I can have about certain things because beyond that, they're only programmed to how they grew up. And that generation as a whole, there's certain just a lack of emotional intelligence. They didn't grow up. They're not wired like that. Hence, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up differently.
So you grew up thinking with like, so you may get a wife who's not overly, but naturally loving and giving. I don't mean that she say I love you, because saying I love you doesn't mean anything.
But
I'm not saying she puts your food on the table.
No, but interactions in a mannerism towards you.
I'm talking about everyone has a hierarchy of value when it comes to love and work and everything else. Hierarchy of value for me is a peace of mind and finding that peace, not pieces, if you know what I mean. So you may get a wife that is giving you, I love you, the food and everything else, and that isn't that, and you think, well, that's okay. You're happy with that because that's what you want.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you get that the same wife is coming to you and saying, you know, babe, I'm proud of you being my husband.
That's deep, man. That's nice.
Do you know, someone if someone said,
yeah, man, that's deep, man. Getting teary.
If I heard that, exactly, I'll get teary as well, because
it's quite romantic.
We want that, we need it, but when we hear it, we put our running shoes on.
Yeah.
Now she may be a type woman who's like, okay, let him run. It's okay, let him run. Not, oh, you see, I'm trying to express you're doing a runner. That is going to work against it. She's patient. It's like a child. Have a sweet, go and run, and come back and say, do you know that sweet tasted nice? Can I have another one? Of course you can.
Slowly.
Gaining the man's emotional trust.
Emotional trust, that's the key.
You know?
Get that emotional trust.
It's emotional, and I don't talk like that because look.
It's deep, man.
Like now, you know, ADHD people, they have a lot of self-guilt, self-sabotaging, self-talk about I'm not good enough. You know, Munchausen syndrome.
Yes.
You know, I don't feel good enough to accept that money or this reward or this love or this care.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, absolutely.
Yeah.
Munchausen syndrome is imposter, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
So when it comes to that, it's difficult to accept it. And when you do get someone, someone, for example, it's like I don't know how to make it expressive in the way that, like I said, torture is I want this, but I can't allow myself to have it right now.
You're guarded, constantly guarded.
So if she's patient enough,
she can crack through.
But she can crack
eventually,
through.
But she's going to be patient. Yeah.
But if you're kind of man that leaves it too long, you might break her with your indifference.
You might put her off. In the long run.
Yeah. If she's willing to wait and be patient for the long run and see, because marriage is a long run. Yes. But I've sabotaged so many of my marriages. I have.
Okay, Ramiz, let's just go for a quick break.
Yeah.
Then we'll jump straight into that, yeah?
No problem.
Back in a moment. Right, we are back. We are jumping all over the place. We're getting into a lot of stuff. Brother Ramiz's got a lot of information and a lot of life experience. So, Brother Ramiz, I mean, we're talking about marriage before we went to the break. So let's go back to marriage and where you're at. And, you know, you said you've been married a few times and your experience of life.
I've sabotaged a lot in my time. And I've had closure, which is good. I've had closure, which is great. Alhamdulillah. But there's certain things in my life that I'm not proud of, even in my deen. And I hope Allah accepts my tawbah and everything else that I do, and we all do.
Inshallah.
We're trying to grab each other to get the Jannah, really. I ask forgiveness to those that I've hurt, and I forgive those who've hurt me. That's for my own benefit and their benefit.
That's deep. That's hard, man. It's hard to do.
Change happens one mistake at a time, if you're sincere to change. Sometimes the thing is, what happens is you seek validation in life. Sometimes you go about it the wrong way. It's not about age. It's not about culture. It's about your own emotional psychology. Right. So when it comes to marriage, we have certain ideas and ideologies and principles and expectations. Yeah, I've come a point in my life and I have no expectations of anyone whatsoever.
Of anyone.
Nothing. I've met brothers who are married, but they go to prostitutes. I've met brothers who sell drugs, do drugs. I've got no judgment.
Yeah, you can't judge.
I just advise you, brother. That's your own nuance. It's your own sin. Don't go spreading it. If you're going to do it that nobody knows. Between yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make your tawbah and leave it. Yeah. But nobody's perfect. I can't say, astaghfirullah, what you're doing because it becomes self-righteous. I can't, because I've got my own sins. You've got your own sins. The idea is to help each other.
Yes.
Not to judge each other. Now, it's not the point of we're not here to judge. Allah says to judge by what is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so have to revealed by the Quran and the Sunnah.
Right.
Actually, the other day I saw you drink, not you obviously, but I saw you drinking.
I was gonna say, bro, people are watching, man.
Yeah, no, if you need help,
get me done here.
yeah, the way I said it, innit? It's like a film. But anyway, I saw you drinking.
Yeah, but we're on camera, man.
But yeah, so you go to a brother and say,
Keep
brother,
it low,
I
man.
saw you the other day, you were smoking a joint or whatever. Listen, I'm not judging you, but if you need help,
You saw me.
I'm here, bro. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's all like stuff like fear Allah.
I think the problem is in the
kind of
community.
harshness, you know.
No, but Ramiz, I think the community, right, generally from a Muslim, you know, the basics of Islam. I think manners, respect, how you talk, how you walk, how you treat someone. I just think even when brothers start practicing, look, people are too quick to just look at others and judge. Oh, look, he ain't praying namaz. I find that I think we project Islam. The word is
imanic passion. I call it imanic passion.
Yeah, but I call it, especially in the Asian community, we project Islam and we think that is we're good Muslims because we keep
it's not. Islam is not about projecting that's haram, actually. I've done my job for the day.
Yeah,
you know,
in your personal affairs, how you conduct yourself when no one's watching, that is your true Islam and your true character, isn't it? But people are just happy to project rather than practice and implement it. So the first thing is I go to the basics. Me and you get into a heated argument, yeah? And I think at some point in the argument, it becomes about our egos, yeah? No, I'll have the last
say. Not about the truth anymore. It's
going to happen, right?
It becomes personal.
So if I at that point think, you know what, for the sake of Allah, I'll just keep my mouth shut and I'll pack up and leave rather than feeding into it.
Yeah.
That's my true character. Only Allah knows. No one else knows. You're going to think, yeah, I've done him. Yeah, bro. I mean, but that iman, that is the true practice of religion in those personal moments and affairs. Yeah. Not by me projecting.
The immediacy of the situation.
Projection. Astaghfirullah. That guy doesn't do that. Astaghfirullah. These lot and they're kuffar and they're, I find a lot of from some brothers that get really practicing are stuck. They're constantly judging non-Muslims. I got a lot of non-Muslims. They're good people, bro. But my point is, you still don't have the right to judge a Muslim, non-Muslim. Just worry about yourself. Worry about your own practice.
We've got to make a distinction between judging and advising.
Yes, I agree.
Even when you're advising, they say, "Bro, don't judge me." I'm not judging you. I'm just advising you. That's what it is. That's what some said. Ad-din al-nasiha. The deen is sincere advice.
Okay, let me give you an example. Of how. Okay, this is how I see it. For example, let's say it's namaz time now. Yeah, you're going to go and pray namaz. The fact that you said, "Fruit, give me a couple of minutes. I just want to quickly go and pray." You don't need to say anything. I'm sitting and I'm thinking, well, he's praying. I might as well pray as well. That might encourage me to get my pray. Yeah. If you get up and go, bro, aren't you going to pray? Astaghfirullah, what's wrong with you? You've killed it. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's the way you say it. If you say it one way, it's like a judgment. If you say it another way, it's advice.
No, but the fact that you got up and said, bro, give me a couple of minutes, but that would have been enough.
Do you know what I'd say? And I'm going to tell you the name. Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, rahimahullah, he passed away now. He was the CEO of Al-Maghrib Institute, very famous institute. They do a lot of good work. So I asked him once about trying to get someone to pray Fajr time, and I said, I'm trying to get them to pray Fajr.
Right.
And I said, I'll tell them this. They said, no. You know what he said to me? You just say to them, make dua for me at Fajr. Yeah. That's all you got to say.
Done. Yeah, exactly.
So if I'm going to go and pray now,
yes,
I say to you, you know what? When we're going to pray Dhuhr now, but make dua for me.
Yes.
I'm not going to say, are you not going to pray?
But this is what I'm saying, Ramiz. I've been in places where, like in room there's one geezer got up, right? Said, boys, give me 5 minutes, bro. I'll be back. I just want to quickly pray my namaz. He went, yeah. He didn't have to say anything. I sat there for 2 minutes and I thought, well, he's praying. I am Muslim. It's namaz time. There is a sickness. And I thought, you know what? I thought, you know what?
I'm going to go and pray,
yeah. So then I went,
that's what Muslims do.
Prayed namaz. No, but I went. But the fact that he got up and went, he didn't ask anyone nothing, bro. Give me 5 minutes, I'll be back. That was enough to encourage me.
I know, but that's like saying, you're not praying, I'm going to pray. Give me 5 minutes. Here's what you should have said, let's pray, boys. Let's all pray now. We'll come back again after prayer.
No, because then you put pressure on a guy who probably doesn't want to pray. Put him in a position where he's thinking like, bro, just go do your thing. Don't harass me. Yeah, I don't want to pray.
But you have to though. You can't say that.
No,
you have to pray.
No, I get it, bro. But you can. My point is that prayer is between you and Allah. I can. If you know, look. If I say to you now, give me 5 minutes. It is namaz time. There's a jamaat next door, mosque across the road, whatever. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pray next door, and we got facilities here. Yeah. the fact that you've got up and gone to pray, bro.
I've
already got the message.
To the fiqh now.
No, but I've got.
Let's
my
get
point
back
is,
into the subject.
No, we'll get back to it. But what I'm saying to you, just from a human perspective, I've got the message, and that is enough to say, you know what?
Yeah.
The guy's going to pray. Let me just pray as well. That was enough for me to have a moment to
for
think.
the action that he's going.
The fact that he was going, it motivated me to
pray
go.
As well. No, yeah, I've got to pray.
But it motivated me to go.
Yeah,
that was enough. His action was enough, and he was so chilled about it. Bro, give me a couple of minutes. So respectful. There was no challenge, and that was enough to think. Yeah, you know what? I'm praying, bro. And you know,
at the end of the day,
I think subtle actions. But like I said, look, the Prophet spread Islam through his behaviors and actions. I'm a simple man, bro. I'm not a learned man. Behaviors and actions. Anyway, carry on. Move. Sorry for butting in again. I will not button anymore. I want to listen to you now, Ramiz. So go.
No. It's good. Because
carry on.
It's the dynamic of the flow of the conversation.
You're talking about ADHD, marriages,
marriage, and the fact that you're seeking validation and etc. Now it's like I don't seek anything from anybody anymore. I really don't.
No expectation.
No,
that's what
nothing.
From no one.
Allah, whatever. I mean, I'm doing it for a long time anyway, but. You know, make tawbah at night time, shukr in the morning. Alhamdulillah gives you another day to do good, expunge the bad, and you know, tawbah, do as much good as you can. Family, take care of this and that. Do a bit of Quran reading, do your prayers, your sunnahs, whatever it may be, and say, right, tick, 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 tick to every box. I've done what I can. So when someone comes to me I don't overburden myself with someone else's feelings anymore.
As in their problems.
Their problems. So I've never had, when it comes to, if I'm counselling you, for example,
right?
Yeah, I can separate that. I don't take that home with me.
You can
but if you come to me as a friend, tell me you've got a problem, that problem becomes affected. It affects
your problem.
Yeah, because you're my brother.
Yeah, I've offloaded.
You're not a client anymore. It's different.
Yes.
If you're offloaded on me as a brother, I think, Farouk, maybe I make that for him. How can? And I think, well, if that was me, I'd probably be in prison. Like, how about, you know, these kind of processes. But if you come to me as a client and you tell me these things, I would leave it with you. Yeah. I have a boundary there. I don't know how to do it with this because it's like. I'm closer with my brothers. I'm closer with my Muslim
you take
family,
it on board.
You know what I mean? You know?
Their problems are your problems.
So coming back to marriage, etc., we've gone through the facts of finding a spouse, what questions to ask, and there's so much to ask as well. You know, how do you deal with your anger? Are you easily forgiving? How do you forgive? What's your love language? Which I don't like these kind of things. Love language. You know, some people say love language is if I'm sitting there and Say for example, I'm sitting there and she's gone and shopping and bought me a pair of socks. Mm-hmm. I'd love that, man.
Okay.
I don't. That's love to me.
Okay, yeah.
Buy me a pair of socks, or out of the blue, I've made myself a cup of. She's made herself a cup of tea, and she's made my cup of tea, which you like, or she's made what you like, without asking. Do you want your favorite? Nice, if you ask me, I'm gonna say no. But if you do it, I'll have it.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we have a different way of showing that. This is what love is to me. Love isn't I love you so much. That's not cringy for me, but it's more so.
It's not real. It's artificial.
Yeah, I find that
real love is these little subtle things.
Little subtle things for me, like these little feelings. If I say to you, you know, not you obviously, your hair is showing. You say, oh, thanks for reminding me.
Yes, but sorry, I mean.
But if you say, oh, don't be misogynistic. What the fudge? I'm trying to remind you, it's like if you saw me, one day just clean shaven and you said, husband, what have you done?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock. Yeah,
a bit of a shock, man. Let it grow. I don't like this. It's sunnah, don't do that. It's a point of contention because she wants the sunnah and he wants the sunnah with the attire and everything else. Okay. Although deen is not just zahir, it's not the outer.
Let's go back.
The batin as well,
Yeah, but Ramiz, let's go back. Let's go to core basics. Firstly, I just want to, before I forget here, for those who have ADHD and they're in relationships, do you have any specific advice for those that suffer with that you can give just to help?
Just don't get married, bro.
Yeah, is it that bad? Is that bad? Yeah.
No. The thing is, if you have an ADHD partner, I'll say partner, husband or wife.
Oh, what can they do if you are a partner of someone like that?
When they zone out, or they don't like. I don't like idle chit chat.
Okay.
How's your day been? Oh, I went to work, I had a cup of tea, I went to the shops and bought myself Starburst bar. It's been okay. All those kind of details. I can't do that. I can't do that kind of detail.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to write that story. I just can't do it.
Do people talk like that?
They do. Huh? People ask you your day. Hey, what you done? How's your... Oh, I'm going to go shopping and do this and this and that. Okay, that's good. That's no problem. But don't expect the same from me. I can't give you my day because my mind is like, I'll get up in the morning, pray Fajr, get back to sleep, get up 6:30. By the time that my parents get up, I've got the washing on, hang the washing up. By the time I'll go as the little come down before mum and dad gets up. Mum and dad gets up 9:30, make them breakfast. They're done. I get to work. I'll do the school run, then do that, then come back, make breakfast, then come to work, go to school run. That's because my day is like that, monotonous. It's set. It's a routine, which is great for ADHD people because routine structure is fantastic. That's why kids have to need structure. Okay, we say, "Oh, that boy's unruly. You know, he's a bit naughty. He's hyperactive." Well, doesn't mean he's a bad boy. Take him to the park and let him climb the trees like a monkey. Mm-hmm. Let him exert the energy. Let him exert there. That's what he needs. Go and play in the sand. You know, he's going to get cat poo on his hand. Let him get cat poo. Dangerous, basically, because it tastes certain bacteria. But it's how you build up your immune system. You know, you fall off the tree, you cut yourself. Baba, you know what I say to my kids when they feel 3 or 4 years? You're not dead. Get up. Come on, let's go. Exactly. It's not bleeding. You don't cut. So fine. Just rub it. You're done. But when it comes to emotions.
You reminded me.
Yeah, for example, I say to my kids, they may have a tantrum.
No, but you just reminded. I just say to my kids when I used to get a scar like that or fall over when we used to with them. I said, "A nice scar. Where'd you get it?" Yeah, Dad, I fell over. And look at oh yeah, nice one. Yeah, it looks good. I used to do that. Yeah.
Great. So
carry on. Sorry, carry on.
No. So, but when it comes to their emotional tantrum and things like that,
yeah, but just go back.
And it's really thing. I said, listen, go and take a breathe out. When you calm down, we can discuss it.
No, but go back to the idle talk. So so if there is a partner, someone out there, and their partner's got ADHD, best thing is do not give them detailed idle talk. So that's a good tip.
Not too long anyway.
Like I went to the shop, I bought a milk.
I don't find my day interesting.
But that's what the advice you give to
my
a partner.
day's duty and responsibilities. Some people say, "Wow, you do so much." Well, I don't think I do enough.
No, but how would you advise a partner? So how would you now contextualize that to someone who's with someone with ADHD?
ADHD.
Yeah, so we say to a sister or brother, say, right.
Yeah. When he or she zones out, when you're talking to they zone out, it's not because they're being rude. They've stopped listening to you. They're being rude. It's because they can't help it.
So give them space. What do they do? What do they do?
So just if they zone out, just okay. I think that's enough now. Do you want a cup of tea?
Right. Okay. So we recognize the signs.
And then the ADHD person, if they recognize, say, look, you know what? I did zone out. Don't think that I didn't listen to you. I was listening to you.
Okay. So look out for those trigger points. So look out for those moments where if they look like they've zoned out into their own world, no, that's your cue to say, right, give them a bit of space.
They may be too shy to say, okay, I can't listen to anymore.
Yes.
But they should do that.
Okay,
especially if be open with it. Just say, I've just zoned out, I can't listen anymore. And that's it. Don't feel like, oh, he's rude or she's rude, not listen to me. No, don't be like that. Just that's their concentration span.
Okay.
The thing is, another thing is, oh, you always start something, don't finish it.
Oh, classic, yeah.
Classic ADHD. Yeah.
Wide job, yeah.
Or the fact that you say you're going to do this and you haven't done it yet. You've been talking about the same thing over and over, you haven't done it yet. Yeah, because you're afraid of perfectionism, it's not going to be perfect, so you're not going to do it. Yeah. The idea is, it's like they say, it's going to be one day or day one.
But women are guilty of that, bro. They're just constant. You ain't done this. You ain't done that. There's a nagging.
They should understand that they should have a manual of what ADHD is, and it's not like, oh, right, now I've got to watch what. Now I've got to watch trim eggshells, etc., etc. Because that's another thing with ADHD is we have too much emotion to make get anger. Like, oh, what? I think, oh no. So it forces her now or him now to think, oh, now I've got to watch what I say. No, discuss it.
Okay, let me ask you.
It's not about eggshell. It's like, oh, that's not perfect. Why don't I knock it over? Self-blame, self-guilt, self-riddle with...
No, but Ramiz, I just thought about something, yeah? So someone's got ADHD, right? Let's say it's the husband, the father, the man's got ADHD, right? All women generally, right, cross cultures, community, globally, universally, generally
maybe everyone's got ADHD.
No, they've got a nagging gene. They all nag. They all have a nag at some point. You ain't done this, they start nagging you on some level.
But that could be projecting as well, because that could be the ADHD in particular on you. They're saying to you, you haven't done it, but
most women, right, I hate to say it, 99%, right, nag. Let's be honest, you know this, look, you know this. So now when a guy's got ADHD on top
of that,
and the women, like I said, innately, they nag, bro. It's just one of them things. They were programmed that way to nag till they get what they want. So that DIY job ain't doing.
In conclusion with this, it's important to have good communication.
Yes.
And express each other. Let me tell you a story. I'll tell you why this is very, very, very important. A brother calls me about 15 years ago, and says to me, I want to get married. Okay, bro, no problem. He's got MS, muscular sclerosis. He goes, shall I tell the sister? I said, not every sister. You'll tell the one that has said yes to you and you're about to do the actual protocols of getting married.
Okay.
Because if you tell everybody your life, everyone's going to know you got MS. They don't need to know that. So in the end, cut a long story short, he found a sister, alhamdulillah, who said yes to him. She doesn't know yet he's got MS. So he rings me and goes, shall I tell her? I said, of course you've got to tell her. So after he says, tells her, he calls me and says, I've told her. What happened? She said to me, that's not a problem because I've been looking after my father with MS for the last 10 years.
Okay, but Ramiz,
so they discussed now that this may happen to me, can you handle that, etc. She goes, I can handle my father, so I can handle you.
Yeah, but okay, some would argue, okay, look at me, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Some would argue and say, you should have been honest before you got any further involved or any decisions.
No, that's what before the marriage. Yeah, but
no, but before you got involved, before she even made the decision, should he not have? Someone will argue. I don't know. Maybe sisters watching,
maybe someone else will give different advice. But me
like
personally,
it should be upfront.
There's no point in telling everybody that your personal thing.
No, but before someone gets involved with you, look, if she said yes for marriage, that means they're already involved. They were communicating back and forth. Should you not have told her at that stage? What if she says,
you told her you've got a certain problem, and she said yes because out of sympathy or the fact that she feels sorry for you, she wants to take it on as a challenge?
I don't think women are that.
No, there are. These days, they do. People do. Men and women do that. They take.
Men might do that, but I don't think women are that.
It's like, for example, someone say, I'd marry a sister with no arms.
No, but
I'd marry a sister who's blind, or a brother who's blind, no arms.
No, you're talking about men.
I'm not saying. I'm just generally speaking. I would. I definitely would.
No, you're talking about men. Most sisters ain't that sympathetic, but if they don't like,
I suppose, but we can't generalize on that. What I'm trying to say is there are human beings that have this emotional
need to help someone.
Yeah, I won't say dysregulation in regards to ADHD, but emotional
need to help someone, fix someone.
Yes, to fix someone.
They need a project. It's called a project. Exactly, they need a project. But look, but if you've just gone to meet someone and you're in that situation, we know the power.
Trying to find the right word.
No, but hold on.
So tip of your tongue, you can't.
No, I get that
as well.
But what I'm saying to you is, Ramiz, because this is quite you could say quite an important thing, yeah. When you're right now, we know the gender wars. The power lays with the sisters. The sisters are calling the shots. They're demanding houses.
No, against somewhere else. No,
it's part of this.
No, I'm saying another subject.
No. This is part of what we're talking about now.
Right, okay.
So if a guy turns around and says, on top of, so he's already competing with all that, yeah. On top of that, if he says he's got MS and sisters are that ruthless with demanding this stuff up front, bro, I don't think they're going to be. I genuinely believe.
I know what you're saying.
That
you're generalising the fact that these days women. Before
I don't think they're that sympathetic.
Yeah, a lot of women
take
now
on a project.
Have been affected by the feminism. Been affected by the feminism, the boss BITCH syndrome, whatever it may be, etc. And sister, I don't need a man. Blah 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 blah. Okay, you don't need a man. No problem. I won't discuss this with you. You go and discuss it with those other women who are in the same boat as you, and be happy with that. But don't bring it into the other. It's like, for example, the other day there was a father who got really upset because the teacher asked his 9-year-old son, what do you identify as? 9-year-old. Yeah? He's saying, well, are they trying to confuse the children initially? Because it's all a satanic agenda. So the same with the sisters. If whatever you got, don't try and put it out there as if it's general. And the fact that because you can't calm yourself down, because you can't be humble enough to be a woman, to understand your role as a Muslim woman, as the best job in the world is a mother and a wife, Islamically, because you'd be happy. You've got no responsibilities in the dunya. You just take care of the house. That's why you call it Rabbatul Bayt, that you are the lord of the house. The woman is the lord of the house. You look after the house, the castle. The man goes out there and fights the lions. Doesn't want to come home and fight the tigress as well. He wants to come home and get his wounds, who's been fighting outside with the lions, to be, tend to his wounds. But then he's going to come home and, because now she's been poisoned and polluted by her friend who's now found this newfound cult, that, you know what, I can be my own, I can get a job, I can do that. But listen, you have got hijab on, you're praying 5 times a day, you're submitted to the Lord of the worlds, you're submitted to what Allah has given you as what a Muslim woman, a Muslim man is. But now you're going to go against that because why? Because why? You don't want to be married? Fine. You want to do that sin? Don't push it out there to somebody else. Don't antagonize somebody else. Don't pollute someone else. Oh, so why am I cooking clean? He can do it himself. You know, why do I have to do that? The idea is that it's not about my rights, it's about duties. Again, and I'll leave this subject with this final statement. It's not about, you can't go to Allah on Judgment Day and Allah says to you, why are you like this to your husband? Why are you like this to your wife? You can't say to Allah, tit for tat, because she did that and because he did that, I did this. Allah said, I'm al-adl, I am the source of justice. Okay? I will give justice for that. I want to talk to your duties. Don't let your ego prevent your duties. The whole point is duties here. That's what it's about. It's not about, I want my rights. Listen, it's about duty. Even if your husband's a right git, or your wife is a right gittess, these terms, gittess or git, it doesn't give you the right to be one as well. You do your duty as well. So I teach my children, my girls, I teach them, they're very confident, alhamdulillah, and I try and get brothers to teach that to their children as well, that bring your girls up to have confidence, but then I say to my girls, don't give this confidence to your husband.
Okay, I've got a theory on this, because I've been thinking about all this. I've got a theory on this because I've heard a lot of these debates. Let me finish.
Sorry. I thought you finished.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I did finish, but there's one last thing.
Go on.
Is don't give this confidence to your husband. Don't be cantankerous with him. Yeah, he's out there fighting. Don't be a tigress.
He's hustling.
Hustle in the home.
Home in his peace.
Hustle in the home. Yeah. So the fact that it's gone. Wait, it's gonna come back in a minute. Oh, sugar.
It's all right. Take your time. It's cool. No pressure. I know. I do this all the time. You're concluding.
We're coming back to me anyway. Go on. We'll come back
so
to
let me go back to what I'll touch on that as well. Yeah, just to conclude on this subject as a whole. Yeah, if you're a couple and you go home and it's hard work, then I hate to say it, I'm going to keep it very simple. Keep the analogy. When you go home and it's work, it's hard work dealing with that person. You're with the wrong person. Straight. I'm not going to. You could put as many plasters on as you want. If it's hard work for you to be with that person, to deal with that person, or they're combative, challenging, and it's work, then no one's going to say it openly. I'll say it straight. You're with the wrong person. You need to think about your life.
That's now. Remember what I was going to say.
Sorry. Yeah.
So it's like, just because he may be not doing his duties properly, for example, which means then she can't be loving towards him, which then will fulfill him. He's going to go in that direction. She's going to go into that direction. So the best way is to get confident enough and submissive enough to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the confidence and say to him, Allah did not give me to you for you to abuse me. That works both sides. If you want to be with me, let's find a family structure that's going to work for both of us to make this marriage work. If not, then let's part amicably.
Yes.
That's it. There's no need for egos, say, oh, you're this and that. No. If you want to be with me, if you want to be with me, then let's make a plan. If you don't want to be with me, Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, may Allah give you a better life, a better person than me.
Perfect. And what I'll do, I'll just touch on what you said very quickly, very briefly, under 2 minutes.
And that's on both sides, yeah? Maybe.
Yeah, no, it goes both ways. Listen, we're not just here for pro-men.
Of course, or pro-women or whatever.
We're not none of that. We're just sensible, trying to be sensible, yeah? What I'll say to you is, like with the red pill movement and all of this social media, so everyone keeps saying a masculine woman's unattractive, a man finds it unattractive, all that sort of rhetoric. There's a man's job to provide for it. What I'll say is, look, I'll turn the whole thing on its head. I find masculine traits personally in a woman attractive because let's put it into a logical pattern, because I've thought about all of this. When she concedes those masculine traits, when you come home though, in front of you she's feminine. When you're not around, and this is this is what I'm saying. This is what you got to understand it. What is attractive is the fact that she is masculine, but around you she becomes feminine.
When you're sleeping, she's got the helm of the boat.
Yeah, so when you're at work, and you got to remember, when people come out with all this stuff, which sounds good on paper, your job is to provide. Bro, listen, we don't live in a dark age. There's dinosaurs coming out of nowhere. We're not an immediate threat of violence, and I'm not being funny. You're going to go to work.
Yeah.
You're not her bodyguard 24 hours of the day. So that fallacy of provide and protect is slightly...
Don't give that to your husband. Give it to everybody else.
No, but what I'm saying to you is, if I said to you,
look, confidence.
No, but what I'm saying to you, if I said to you, it's your job to protect. Bro, you're not going to be with her 24 hours. You're not a bodyguard. You're going to work. Yeah. We don't live in a movie here, bro. You got to go to work.
But the protection is already set, though.
No, so what I'm saying
protocols.
Is, but its protection is not in. It's not said in a. If you're in bed and a burglar broke in, or you're on the street, something happened, you're with her, then yeah, you take the
That's
lead role.
default. Yeah, default.
Default position. But the fact is this: I think masculine traits are attractive because when I'm not there, you're in charge, babe. You're running the ship. You're in charge. You go take care of business. If there's a threat, you need to eliminate the threat until I get home.
Ship, by the way. Didn't say the.
That's what I'm saying. So she's running the ship. She's behind the wheel. Yeah. That's when her masculine traits come out.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
attractive.
that's
So
attractive.
when
Yes,
I'm at
of
work,
course.
when I'm
Yeah.
hustling, trying to provide, I know she can take care of herself. No one's going to walk over. She knows how to handle her business. Yeah. But when I come home, those masculine traits don't come out in front of me. They come out to the world, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's attractive. I find that attractive.
And the best example of that is our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, who the Prophet ﷺ said that she had a manly being about her.
Yes.
Manly opinions. She's not a rajul. She's not a man, but she's rajula.
Yes.
She has manly qualities about her.
Right.
She knows her place, and this is why it's important that that when you have daughters and you're teaching them how to be feminine, their sexuality, their womanhood, their femininity from their father, so that they are strong, confident, self-esteemed women. So that if the husband is a bit, husband, look, I know you're a bit upset, but I'm not the one that hurt you. I'm here for you. Calm the beast. Calm the beast.
Yes.
So I say to my daughters and other sisters out there with their husbands is don't give that rajula, that manliness that you have, which is attractive for a man,
yes,
to your husband.
You give that to
with your husband
when he's not around.
You become the most feminine.
Yes.
Feminine.
That's
humble.
attractive.
That's
yes.
attractive.
Very attractive.
But then he knows that when he's away,
my woman's got to take care of business. Yeah, she's running the ship.
You've got the bullets and the gun. You've got the
she
fences
take over.
clean. You take over.
Look, when I'm not around, you're second in command.
That's
take over. When
exactly
I'm home,
what it is.
so when I'm home, you're second in command. Yeah. When I'm out, you're first
Admiral,
in command.
Lieutenant.
Yeah. And if the kids need protecting, you got to dive in front to do whatever you possibly can do in your power until I get there. Simple.
One of the main things, though, that the problem have today is man children.
Yes. Ramiz, let's go to a quick break.
Right.
We'll jump onto this in a minute. The time is short, so back in a quick break. Right. We are back. Obviously, me and Ramiz look like we need another 4 or 5 hours. We could just bounce off each other all day. So we ain't got much time now. Brother Ramiz, just touch on a little bit about the situation that has now infected our community. Fatherless homes, sisters running to the family courts and using all the mechanics and tools provided by the government to deny their children access to their fathers. What do you know about that? And obviously time is short, so... And what the hell's going on in the community? What do you know about it? And what advice do you have for the sisters and brothers and the families who are going through this on all sides?
I don't know much about the actual legalities and laws on that side. I'm going to advise as Islamic advice and fatherly, brotherly, whatever advice it may be. Now,
someone who's seen life,
on one side of the coin, sisters, to be honest with you, and I'm going to be quite forthright about this, is you're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know this, okay? I'm just speaking generally here. I'm not saying it that I'm judging you and I'm having a go at you, whatever. I'm just giving you sincere advice. You're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's no way that you can justify what you're doing. Fine. You guys broke up. You hate the sight of each other, okay? But you still love each other for the sake of Allah. But you're still Muslims at the end of the day. Why should the children suffer? That's one. Two, you'll be responsible of their behavior growing up because it will reflect back on you. They will attack you whether you like it or not. You will, as a woman, you will never be fatherly, manly enough to give the same input that a proper father can as a man to your children. You can't be a mother. You know, they say, oh, my mother was a father and a mother. I don't believe in that. In the sense that you can never be a man with the structure of a man, the emotions of a man, the protection of a man, or the protectiveness as a man, to give that input to your children. And they're going to miss out that if their father's not seeing each other. They're going to grow up very, most of the crime rate of the 90s and 2000s, in early 2000s, are from illegitimate children and fatherless children as well from the 60s and 70s. And it's going to cause a lot of problems for you. So, and I'm going to say it's very selfish of you Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh, you're very selfish. I'm saying it's very selfish of you to prevent the child from seeing the father. Yeah, but he beat me. That's got nothing to do with the kids. Yeah, but that has not how his relationship as a husband does not reflect how he is with a father, how he is as a father. So you can't say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he beat me, I stopped him from seeing the children. Because he did it has nothing to do with you whatsoever. You should still let the children see the father for the children's benefit, to grow up balanced and co-parent together for the sake of the children. Because all it is selfishness, greed, and ego. That's all it is. And let's be truthful here. That's all it is. What else is it? You're doing it to get somewhere to live free. You're doing it to get money free. But all at the sacrifice of your children. You can still get helped. Who wins here? Whose money's wasted? Your money is wasted. All right, fine. You cried. When I say you cried domestic violence, I'm not saying that men cannot be. Are not. Some men are not. I'm not saying they're not guilty of that, because they are. Some men are. But even if they are, it shouldn't prevent you from letting them see the children. You don't want to be with him, fine. That's fine. You've got yourself out of the marriage. He was a bad husband to you in regards to that. He may have fulfilled you.
Just want to touch on something, Ramiz. What it is with when the courts, legal aid, and certain certain aid groups get involved with these sisters, they coerce them into making these allegations.
I was going to come on to that as well. Don't let yourself be tricked and follow the agenda of these lawyers, because they're going to say everything they say to you. They're not advising you sincerely for the benefit of yourself and the child. They want to make this case last long enough so they can make more money, write more checks. More letters and more phone. They charge for every phone call, every letter. And I'm not getting into that because I'm not a lawyer. I don't get into the legal things. That's not my forte. But just recognise that. Another thing, now the brother mentioned it about you're being beguiled and tricked by the lawyers, is your parents as well, with all due respect. As a father, a sincere father, if there is a point of domestic violence, and there are many men who are guilty of it, yeah, whether they are or not, okay, and you have parted from him, and vice versa, okay, and vice versa. But I don't know, I haven't met any brother who prevents the children seeing the mother. I'm sorry that I haven't. In my 57 years of my life and 25 years of my deen, Muslim or non-Muslim, I haven't seen a man prevent the children from seeing the mother. It's always the other way around. It's the
same pattern.
And what I've looked at is the pattern I've seen. There's always the mother and the father of the daughter coercing her as well. Now, you fathers out there, you mothers out there, fear Allah. As a father, you should try to mediate between them and try and get them together for the sake of the kids. If really, like in the end, you just cannot mediate and that you cannot reconcile, at least say to your daughters, look, I know he was a bad man to you. He looked after you, he fed you and all that, but obviously he had a bit of anger problem. He took it out on you. You don't want to be with him. You can't control him. He needs help. That's fine. That's on one side of the coin. But my daughter, don't stop him from seeing the children. But what's happening these days, as I'm finding myself,
the fathers and brothers are supporting false allegations and all of that.
Yeah, the false allegations and things like fear Allah. And fear Allah about lying to get what you want. Allah's Ar-Razaq. The system isn't your Lord who provides for you because you're scared you're going to be alone. I want to get free money, so I'm going to lie. I want to get free house or whatever, help with it, I'm going to lie. And then you sit there when you've got the children, then what? And then on top of that, you poison the children against their father. Do you know what? I fear for you. I really do. And that's my advice to you. I'm not saying it in like, I'm not having a go at you. I know I'm a very forthright and passionate person in every subject that I talk about, but I'm not. It's sincere advice. When the lawyers talk to you, think about what they're saying and why they're saying it. When your parents are talking to you, think about why they're saying it and why isn't your father on the children's side? Why isn't your father pushing you to try and reconcile? Because that's the right thing to do. It's not a cultural thing. I knew he was a bad man for you, blah, blah, blah. Well, what is it? I believe many of the cases are not DV, as proven. They're not DV at all. It's just false allegations. And all you have to say is, he is like that,
to get
and you may not, and then children are not going to see the father for 2 years until the court case comes.
Exactly.
And you've lied. You've lied for what? A piece of the dunya.
You've sold your children.
You've sold your children. That's it. You've used your children to get what to feed your ego. Don't do that. Reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate yourself. Honestly,
Sure.
I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to go back and say to And another thing we should talk about next time, I think we should do, is about I'm divorced. What now?
Yes, Brother Ramiz, like I said, we need more time. So what myself and Brother Ramiz are going to do is going to have a 6 to 10 part series, one a month, and we're going to tackle specific subjects. And obviously Ramiz has got a lot of life experience, and with this specialist work that he does, he's got a lot of knowledge to give. So we're going to be tackling specific topics, dedicated podcasts to specific topics over the coming months. So we'll be covering all of this in a lot more detail. We've just run out of time today. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow and share, and help support the channel. There's a PayPal link in the description. Help sponsor, donate, so it helps the channel continue and we can get the information out there.
I'm going to plug me in a little. It's a little plug.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go on. You tell them there. Tell them.
Visit the clinic, www.therapycliniclondon, all one word, and have a look at the treatments that we do here. Look forward to seeing you. We've got male and female therapists. We've got male and female osteopaths that will manipulate your back, adjust your back for you, hijama, sports massage. We look forward to seeing you. You'll have a great time. You'll enjoy it.
And I'll get his details in the description as well if you want to book an appointment or whatnot, or reach out to him. So thank you for watching Disqualified Dads, and we'll see you on the next one.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Right, just talk normally, Ramiz. Mic check 1, 2.
Yeah, so when you go fishing,
Uh-huh.
you need to put the hook in a way that sometimes hooks are bent.
Mm-hmm.
So if the fish try to get away, it will catch it. And sometimes hooks are not bent, they're just straight curved.
Mm-hmm. What do you use for bait?
Maggots, mainly. I love maggots, red maggots at that. I used to use white maggots thinking, because they're white, they're easier visible, but I find that fish really go for red maggots.
Well, there's plenty of maggots.
Certain fish anyway.
Plenty of maggots in the community, which we'll talk about that in a minute, yeah? Right.